we go. This gives me enough room here to put in a valve. Now the problem here is, unfortunately, I need to delete a pipe, so it's going to take me a little bit of time to actually set that up. Actually, no. But I will have to shut down my smelters for a moment. What I do is I pop this here, and this will force this liquid to just go round in a loop like that, which will empty out this tile, and then I can deconstruct it and then get rid of this afterwards. That'll work. Leave this at a 6. Have a look. How are all the pipes going? Okay, you've done a good job. Done a very good job, actually. Yay. Yeah, this helps us with cooling. Effectively, leaving this is my cooling loop. It might not seem it because this liquid is very hot, but this room can... all of the buildings in this room can operate fine up to a temperature of 250 degrees. But these add temperature. It's smelting. And it takes the coolant and it dumps a load of heat into the coolant depending on what it smelts. The most egregious use of this is the steel smelter, which adds chunky amounts of temperature to it. Right, there we go. Let's break this down rather urgently before any liquid gets in it because I don't want petroleum on the floor. Thank you. Now you can deconstruct this as well. And at this point, we're going to be replacing these pipes with regular liquid pipes. I don't need it to be tungsten. It's unnecessary. That work? Yes. No, it did not. No, it did. It just wasn't showing it visually to me. And across here, exactly the same. I don't want to be holding this temperature in. I don't want to insulate it. Don't necessarily want to make all of this out of tungsten either, but I definitely don't want to insulate it. I can go now. Well, actually, no. This one does need it because it stops accepting any more petroleum if the content of this is above a certain threshold, which it is currently. That's fine. So at this point, we are going to want to bring this up. And I'll be honest, I'll do it like this because I dislike having pipes under bridges because it makes it really hard for me to tell what's going on. At this point, we no longer care about the temperature of the petroleum coming into the system. Hotter the better, actually. Now, all of this liquid is draining down here, which is going to allow me to clean up the pipes over here and connect them up properly in this direction. Now, I am going to need to flow control this area. So, I'm going to set that up now. For this, I just need a basic liquid valve. Something here would do. But equally, I could just put it here. Now, does the liquid valve have an overheat temperature? Yes, it does. So I'm going to have to make the liquid valve out of steam. Out of steam. I'm not making my liquid valve out of steam. That seems completely counterproductive. I am, however, going to be making my liquid valve out of steel. Steam liquid valves. We're living in the future. Now we'll pop that one there. This will allow... Oh, actually, don't build that yet. This will allow output coolant to bridge across. Again, the coolant going through here is going to be of a significantly lower density. It's going to be only 5 kilos in the pipe versus 10. So there'll be room for 5 kilos out of the waste liquid to get across. That's the goal. All right. Now, while all of this is going on, let's take a moment to have a look at the rest of the base and how it's been going. Got some new printables. Don't want anything from there. Flooding. Oh, that's bad. You know what? There's really no reason why I haven't done this a million years ago. Let's go ahead and just set this up. Just let the water drain down. That actually needs to be done quickly so that people can use that to move around again. Other than that, though, how are things... I took my eyes off them for a second, and all my hopes and dreams have been made reality. Fantastic. Okay, so we're getting a little bit closer to being able to run this now. Excellent news. Right, so the way this is going to work, we want regolith to enter from here, or whatever I want cooled. It runs around the system, up through here, back around the system. It checks its temperature over here. If the temperature is below 200 degrees, because I only want to cool it to well, I don't know. I could take a lot of heat out of it if I really wanted to. I could even have two different temperature pipes that activate based on the type of material it is, but then I'm getting really complicated with the system. Whereas this system is nice and easy. I could just have this set to bring the temperature down to like 100 degrees if I wanted to. But 200 will keep this steam room operating very efficiently. I think 200 is where I'm gonna sit it. If it's below 200, then this activates. This will allow any item moving through to get out. And it goes across here, and then, you know, up to some great destiny over here that I haven't yet decided about. Mostly it's going to go in there. I could just keep this purely for regolith. But, you know, adding metal in here wouldn't be a bad idea, but it's not exactly the best system. Maybe metal would be better if I just had a pool of water and I just dumped the metal in there. In fact, I could do that. Once it's below 200 degrees, if it's regolith, it keeps on going, and if it's metal, it gets put into the final coolant phase, which is literally just a vat of water with dry wall behind it. So the water itself... Now, this is the interesting thing. In real life, the phase state of objects, while it's very easy to consider it heat-related, is... And it is... But quite often, because it's not practically useful information in everyday use. Remember, you go to school not to learn how to be scientists. You go to school to learn how to work in a factory. That's what the education system exists for. Until university. And that's why there's suddenly this massive shift. And quite often you have to unlearn half-truths that you were taught in school. Because the rule of thumb was good enough to get you working in an industrial, society in high school, but when you actually go to university, it's an indication that you actually want a higher position. You're trying to study for something grander, something science or engineering, things like that. And at that point, they're like, okay, well now we'll tell you the full truth, and that's when you start really digging into the nuts and bolts of stuff. But quite often, it's easy not to be taught the pressure component of how things phase change. In a vacuum, it's the pressure to boil, the pressure vaporization point. The lower the pressure, the easier something is to change from liquid to gas. The more unstable the molecules become in liquid form because there's not this pressure pushing them closer together and increasing the energy requirement for those bonds to be broken and for the molecules to split apart. In a vacuum, there's no pressure. So the energy required to phase change from liquid to vapor is incredibly low. With some exceptions, most liquids will boil off pretty happily in any state of vacuum. Some have vaporization points that are so shockingly low, though, like pressure to vaporization requirements, that they kind of hit this weird, it's Schrodinger's liquid kind of position where the energy required to split the molecules off from the liquid and become a vapor is more or less met, so it becomes vapor, but at the same time, the energy requirement to bond these molecules back into liquid from vapor state is still the same sort of point. It's like the triple point of water, that point where it can exist as a gas, a liquid, and a solid all at once. You kind of have that equilibrium with some certain materials. But water definitely isn't one of them. It boils super fast in vacuum. The temperature requirement is crazy low. But it doesn't model that in this game. It does a real like a shorthand thing. Is there anything in the background? If not, then we're in vacuum and think liquid and gas will just slowly disappear over time. It's not actually modeling the gas vaporization. The liquid vaporization and the vapor just disappearing into the ether. It's just saying, yeah, you know, if it's got space exposure, then liquid loses some of its mass every turn. Which means here, or anywhere with drywall behind it, even though it's exposed, like, in here, the gas in here is depleting, not because it's drifting out of the room. But if I put liquid in here, it would be fine. Even though, if I had no gas in here whatsoever, the liquids stay there forever. It's one of the reasons why I don't like having, like, little drop liquids on robo-miners. Like, if I put a robo-miner there, and I had a tile of petroleum there, that petroleum would never leave because there's no space exposure. Even though it's in vacuum, and it should, it's not being exposed to space as far as the game is concerned, so it's never going to evaporate at super low temperatures. So that's a little thing to consider. We could make a little pool of water out here, just have drywall in it, fill the pool with water, and just have it being topped up every now and then. Because what would happen is you drop a lump of like 200-degree iron in there. That would rise the temperature of the water. The moment the water flashes the steam can now move. The steam will move up and out of the background drywall. Like, let's assume this is drywall here. The steam would move up. The moment it's over here, it disappears. So I just need to top the water up. It's an interesting way of working with that. So we can absolutely do that. In fact, that probably is a pretty clever way of only ensuring that regolith is the only thing that goes into the shovels, but I can cool everything I want this way. I am running out of iron. This makes me incredibly sad. Let's cancel this then. I've used iron rather extensively up to now, but I think I need to swap over to copper. Copper, you will rescue us. If I was feeling especially bling, I'd use steel, but I'm not an idiot. Most days. Right, we'll come over here. In fact, this copper can keep going all the way, and we'll eventually replace this. But what we want down here is a solid filter. Oh, wait. We want that in a different place then. Okay. Well, no. Regolith is the only thing I want to feed to the shovel, so that actually makes sense that regolith should be the thing that I'm filtering. Cancel that. Copper. Power will have to reach all the way over. That's fine. I'm sure I'm going to take power in that direction for some other things as well. So this is the regolith. Goes out there. Everything else, I'm going to assume, is stuff I want. Actually, we are going to do it like this instead, just so that I can have a ladder going up here. Cancel that build. Whoop. There we go. And then around here, it doesn't matter if I make this out of insulated tile or not. In fact, I'm going to make it out of obsidian. Well, yeah, we'll make it out of insulated tiles just so that it doesn't heat the water up itself. Just have a little pool. It doesn't need to be more than this, honestly. Something like that with a liquid pipe, just dumping out a little bit of liquid just to keep it full. Actually, let's make it a little bit wider. Yeah, that'll do. And we would want drywall in here. What have I got the most of? Sedimentary rock, obsidian. It's thermally reactive, and I kind of want the inside to be... Well... The only thing that's going to be... Yeah, the heat is never going to be over 100 degrees. And as I'm adding more water, it's going to lose that. Granted, I haven't actually got much obsidian, so I need to get rid of that. Let me get rid of that for now. Thank you very much, Serias. 23 months and counting. Thank you, mate. Won't be a very dry wall once you put a liquid on it. That is true. Yes. There is truth in this. We'll just go with granite. There's no reason not to. It's about... Yeah, just granite that up. We will have a liquid pipe. A liquid vent, sorry, over there. Doesn't matter what the liquid is. But water is ideal because it'll vaporize a little bit faster. Though something with a lower temperature point. I could chill the water before bringing it up so that it will cool the metal. We are going to want the shipping rail. There we are, to just pop out about here. Conveyor chute. And we are going to want a hydro sensor right there. That will control when we let more water in. And that's all. The pipe for this would come down, but I can build that later, I suppose. But I may as well just pop it in. We're making it granite this way. And then we add back in the solid filter. We will need to power it, but there we go. So we can add in whatever. We'll get rid of it out of the system once it's at 200 degrees. Or rather below 200 degrees, because we don't want it cooling the steam. And then drop it up here. If it's regolith, it just gets fed straight to the shovels. They'll happily eat 200 degree regolith. However, if it is anything else, it gets popped up here and will eventually cool through the application of chilled liquids. Can you make obsidian or only what the map generates? You can make it. Oh, actually, no. You can't make obsidian. You well, I don't think does. No, magma doesn't cool into obsidian. That's Minecraft. Yeah, it turns into igneous rock. But you can, I think, get obsidian from space. You can get it from certain planets, as far as I'm aware. Okay, my steam engines have shut down for now, which is why we're having a little bit of power problems. It is not hot enough in here anymore. At the top of the room, it's 161. I could just turn them on for now until they're down to 130, in fact. Yeah, 140. Go ahead. Activate the steam turbines. We'll get a little bit more power out of it. Right, let's have a look what we're doing. That's all set up now. I'm going to want another steel container here, just to deliver liquids to my my polymer presses. So that's fine. Pop that in. Liquid pipe this. Well, that's fine because we're going to be taking this away in a moment. So that's okay. We don't need that to be a particularly insulated pipe, frankly. We just need it to be a pipe. So granite will do. Now, as for down here, I need to remove this. Deconstruct as an 8. Now this flow control, I need to be 5,000 grams. Half the regular amount of the regular capacity of a pipe. Thank you. And we'll get that built over there as well. Oop. I meant to copy it, not its settings. Once again, got to make it out of steel, unfortunately. But worse things have happened. Right, now we wait for a little bit. Now all of the liquid should be in the container. Yep, let's go ahead and break down all of this. No longer want that there. And in fact, we don't want any of this all the way up there. Get rid of all of that And I'm actually going to want that done quickly. Oh, good. It's already been on an 8. That won't take much time. Hello, Doc Diving Dog Mum. How are you doing? I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for asking. There we go. Now this system is completely isolated. We cannot offload the liquids, so that is a bit of a problem, and we need to fix it. Also, we need to deconstruct that. Basically, we no longer want petroleum entering this system this way. There we go. What temperature is the liquid coming in? It's not doing too bad, actually. Only 87? Wow, by the time it gets through. Oof. So we're dumping heat into the room. That's amusing. Well, it's quite chill water coming in then. There we go. That's working at least. Let's have a look down here. Yeah, it's going to continue to fill stuff down here for a while yet, but that's not terrible. I do need to get my explore on a little bit more, though. And that is going to require some work down here. First and foremost, let me build these out. Put those across. Deconstruct those. Can I not? Yes, I can. Oh, I've probably got the deconstruction set to buildings still, unfortunately. Oh, well. We are not going to breach the vent for now, but I do want to ladder down past it. So ultimately, I still want to strip out this entire area. Starting from over here. And then from over here. I don't know why I find it so satisfying to leave the abyssalite where I can, but I do. It's just a thing, and we must accept it. Now I am going to pump the priorities up here. So I would like this done a little bit faster than everything else. So if we can get that sorted, then I can kickstart these again. I can start emptying out the coolant from my smelters and using that to flash the liquid down here into steam. Overall, things are looking alright. As long as we can keep petroleum flowing, then we should be okay. And we've got not a great deal of oil, I'll be honest, actually. We need more coal, probably. I need to set up the coal power plants in the power brick. There's two other types of generators. You've got the steam generators, which are always on. The petroleum generators, which are on first. Well, not actually. Petroleum generators should activate second. The natural gas generators, which should activate first, and the coal generators, which should activate last. So it goes steam, natural gas, petroleum, coal. Because coal is my least renewable resource so far. Or at least I use it faster when I'm using it. With that, I'm going to set this to, if it's above 200, cool it. And if it's still above 200, cool it again. This should be better designed, however. Ah, poop. Okay, cancel that build. Cancel. There we go. Nope. Oh, why? Ah, nice. I hated that in that view. I can't cancel the build there. All right, there we go. I'm actually going to need to lift that up a little bit. I'm going to need that to happen probably around here instead. So let's delete that. Because a better system for this is to have it flow out in this direction. That said, actually, that isn't going to be necessary. The reason why that won't be necessary is because this is always going to be full packets. But if I tell this to, like, if I make the packet half at this point, then it shouldn't matter. It's all based on the position that I implement my flow control, for all intents and purposes. And if I implement the flow control down here, then that's going to be a lot better for me. Cancel the deconstruct, because whilst this entering here might be a full packet, I would need to branch onto it. I'd always have motion. Or at least I would think I would. No, I still ultimately need this to branch across, which is kind of the problem that I'm having. And for those who are a little bit confused over my mutterings right now, I do apologize. Effectively, I want to control the order of passage for my liquids. By doing it this way, any liquid coming up from this one has to wait for liquid that is trying to leave this one before moving across. And so it kind of just backs up the system a little bit, but it's fine, because this one will gain priority in venting its material, and that's ultimately what I need. Actually, thinking about it a little bit further, I can achieve the same thing. I can have the flow. I do want the flow control further up because I want it to be after where everything bridges on. But yeah, I think this would be a better setup here. We'll have this branch up all the way across. Have that branch across there, and it should all work. There we go. It is a bit convoluted, I know, but it will ultimately help. Trust me. The way the game works is that when a liquid is trying to exit a bridge... that was silly of me. I should not have done that, but it's too late now. When a liquid is trying to exit a bridge, if there is anything moving over the exit port that it's trying to move through, it will fail. It'll just stop. It won't try to move any further. And that's ultimately what I would like to use. I kind of want that just to move straight across, really. I don't want this little pipe bend. So, while all that's going on, let's have a priority 9 empty job there. And then once, hopefully, we can get no more liquid will move into it. Oh, well, okay. The liquid that was in that pipe did move in, but the aqua tuners aren't active because they have nothing to do. All the liquid in here is below the threshold that I've told it to empty those pipes. Okay, that'll work. We'll replace all of this with the proper kind of piping. And then we'll have flow control just up here. One of the problems with this game is you can get really into all of the tiny things that you can improve. That can be deconstructed. Actually, yeah, deconstruct that, but I'll make it a little bit tidier in having this come across and up instead. Okay. And with that, we are almost finished. And this needs to just branch across. This will only allow more petroleum in if we've reached, if we're below a certain threshold. I'm going to drop that threshold even further. It'll stop accepting it once this tank is 30% full, which is fine. That means that petroleum will gain priority into the coolant loop for my smelters, but beyond that, I can feed it up into my polymer presses. Because ultimately, if I need to, I want my my smelters to have more liquid in them.